Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Broadway Jets YouTube channel. You'll know me from Twitter as NYJ Mike. I'm joined as always by the master of receipts, NYJ Matt. And Matt, free agency opened. The Jets are active.
They are. Mike, how many drinks do you have tonight at the bar?
We had a few drinks,
I had a
a little
few.
bit.
Just
We're a little
one.
hammered. We're a little
I
hammered.
I
It
hear you,
is what
man.
it is. No, there's no stress. There's no stress. We're still following free agency. We're feeling good. We're in a good spot.
Yeah, and again, thank you to everyone who subscribed. We're on the road to 500, so we're very close. So thanks again for anyone who did join the program.
For
If
sure.
we do get to 500 by tomorrow, I'll be pretty hyped. I think we're at 480 now, but we'll keep bringing the content. We're having fun on Twitter, but more fun to do it on YouTube and do more long form
For
content.
sure. For sure.
And we'll get into Rodgers in a little bit. Obviously, going on Pat McAfee tomorrow.
1 o'clock.
Hopefully, the news breaks before then. Do you think it's going to break during the show?
I would imagine, if I was a betting man, which I am, I'd think that it's gonna break tomorrow. It's
You
it's
just
tough.
you just turned blue on the screen, by the way.
I know my computer is going into recovery mode, which I don't know what that means.
So
Should I see advanced repair options or should I restart my PC?
restart that shit.
Yeah,
So
let's restart it.
so Lazard signs 4 years, 44 million, 11 per, 22 million guaranteed. The report came out that the Jets were a little bit under 10 million and then bumped it up, which is good to bring him in. A younger version of Corey Davis, a healthier version of Corey Davis, not the same production at his height, but he can get there. Great run blocker and has chemistry with Aaron Rodgers. So it's hard to hate an Lazard signing. But Mike, what do you think?
I mean, it goes back to, so you saw the report today. Diana Rossini tweeted that Rodgers had a quote unquote wish list of guys that he wanted to come to the Jets, including Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb, Mercedes Lewis, and Odell Beckham. Personally, in a bubble, I'm not the biggest Alan Lazard fan, and the reason why is that he had a lot of opportunities with a multiple time MVP and didn't do so much. And then last year in 2022, he's the Packers' number one option. And he goes for 60 catches, 780 yards, 8 touchdowns. He was productive, but not unbelievable.
Right.
All signs point to him being a terrific run blocker. Can he replace Corey Davis? Yes. Can he be a terrific red zone target? Yes. Does he bring the intangibles? Probably not a splashy, sexy free agent signing, but a good move, I think, for the Jets.
Right. And you brought up being a number one last year, obviously behind a Devontae Adams before that. The Packers had a weird team last year, man.
Very
I,
weird,
I don't
very
know if you can put
strange.
it on Lazard, and I know you're not. So in a vacuum, it's a move that I think helps this team. And there's the upside of I don't think Corey Davis in 2 years from now is going to give you 1,000 yard season. He's
No,
going to keep getting older and hurt. 2 years from now, Alan Lazard can jump and be a 1,000 yard receiver at 29 years old at that time. So guaranteed money safe. 4 years, probably another extra year than I thought they would have given him.
me
Perfectly
too.
fine with it.
But durability wise, it makes a lot of sense.
Right. And a good compliment to a Moore and Wilson tandem. Now, I don't know if Moore is going to be a part of the Packers trade. I threw that out there as a prediction. I get the LaFleur beef, but if I'm Green Bay, yeah, give me a little bit older Corey Davis or give me Moore. It's not even a question. And the Jets obviously had problems with Moore earlier in the year, the trade request. So,
Well, the problem is the Jets basically have to move Corey Davis at this point,
yeah,
cap wise. You're not going to pay Garrett Wilson his rookie contract, which is relatively extensive for the 10th overall pick. You're not going to pay Corey Davis and Alan Lazard and Elijah Moore and go out
mm-hmm.
and get a Randall Cobb, blah, blah, blah. Right. So,
So I think you're right. Davis will be gone. I think Davis had an unlucky injury-ridden career with the Jets. Also,
yeah,
winning
yeah.
50-50 balls for a young quarterback did not get the job done there when he was on the field.
No.
But again, we will never fault Joe Douglas for making that move. We were a fan of the move at the time. I think we thought it'd be a little less money than we did, but we paid him enough money. And at the end of the day, they make the move. The next step is if they do move off of Moore, which again, I think a more Wilson Lazard tandem, pretty good. You get a little
Makes
bit of everything
sense.
there.
Yeah.
It makes sense. But if OBJ is not only on Rodgers' wish list, but the Jets truly want to bring him in, Moore would then likely be the odd man out and sent off to another team. Not
Right.
necessarily the Packers, but
If the
gone.
Jets are going to literally follow the wish list and go get Odell Beckham, you have to make another move. You figure with Lazard, Corey Davis is gone, like we talked about.
Yeah.
If you get another guy, it's not a problem of cost because Elijah Moore's not making so much money, but where's he going to play? He was complaining last year when the Jets were on their first 3-game winning streak in 7 years, and he's complaining that he didn't get enough targets after a rainy game in Lambeau Field. Probably not going to work.
And people have said the wish list is kind of BS, and that's not actually true. Is guys that he would want to sign. And we covered a little bit on OBJ. I think it'd be a cool signing. I would even go north of 15 million. I think I've heard 15 to 20. Bring him down from that, but I get some team would pay that.
Well, 15 to 20. Let's take a step back because Jacoby Myers asked for 20 million.
Right.
And then he's the first receiver off the board. He got 11 from Las Vegas. Alan Lazard is a similar type receiver, 11, like the main character of Stranger Things.
So I just think that a team to get OBJ, maybe a team that is in more win now mode that has the cap that need a receiver could go for 13, 14. I don't know if the Jets end up doing that. When it comes back to the rest of the wish list and you look at Randall Cobb and you look at Mercedes Lewis, who cares? And what I mean by that is if you're going to have Mercedes Lewis be your third tight end and in run blocking sets, and then you're going to have Randall Cobb be your fifth receiver, who the hell cares? If Randall Cobb makes it a 1% better chance that Rodgers is happy here, can develop, and has a chemistry with a backup than having Jeff Smith, buy Jeff Smith. It's very simple. I don't know why there's a big outrage over it. The only outrage and the only caveat I would say is if something were weird to happen, whether it be retirement, Rodgers getting mad and it not going through, then you are embarrassed that you ended up making these moves and all these leaks come out. They're going to get all these guys and it doesn't work out. If it works out fine, who cares who your third tight end and fourth wide receiver are?
You're 100% right. 1,000% right. The only thing I disagree with you about is a more win now needy team looking for an Odell Beckham, paying him more money. You might be right about that aspect of it, but the Jets are in win now mode if you get Aaron Rodgers, which I think we agree on.
Yes. The thing is, though, in that take is the Jets would have 11 million into Lazard, a 10th overall pick into Wilson.
Agreed. You're right.
My point is, if you move off more, then you can make that investment, but you do have to invest at center. You do need to clear up a linebacker spot. Like there are things the Jets still need to do where it is a luxury of OBJ. I would take OBJ in a second, even after 2 ACLs. I love him. I loved him. But
we're on the same page. It was more about the fit and right. That's our win now team.
And then it comes down to McAfee tomorrow, man. I hope that it comes out before. I really just hope it comes out before.
He's not going to retire because you can't demand the Jets sign these guys and then they do, and then you retire. And if they do, if that does happen, it looks ridiculous. The Jets sign Randall Cobb. They go outside of Mercedes Lewis. And then Rodgers comes out and retires is ridiculous. It's a crazy situation. But if you're an average fan, how could you blame the Jets? This terrific generational quarterback is telling you, hey, I'm probably going to come to your team, sign, try to get these 4 guys. And you can get, like you said, 2 of them, Mercedes Lewis and Randall Cobb, for like $1 million each. And you're not going to do it? Like, why wouldn't you do it? You have to do it. It's not doable. You have to do it. Completely agree with you.
And I think it'd be different if we actually needed to get a tight end and then we use Mercedes Lewis as like the tight end, or we needed a wide receiver 2 and we got like, that's not what they're doing.
Well, so, yeah, I guess you can have, Randall Cobb instead of Denzel Mims. Denzel Mims last year, 11 catches, 186 yards, no touchdowns, 63 yards came on 1 play. We can replace
11 catches and on like 35 targets.
A lot of targets, caught like 40% of the targets. Not a terrific efficiency wise year.
Mm-hmm.
The tight ends are a different thing. The funny thing is, we talked about it before off air. Not so funny, but a little bit ironic. What if the Jets get Mercedes Lewis and you have to get rid of a CJ Uzama, who's the one tweeting out Avengers memes? But I just hope that's not the case, because are they going to cut Jeremy Ruckert, who's a third round pick last year? Are they going to cut Tyler Conklin? Probably not.
I
Like,
think what they would do is
where does Mercedes Lewis fit in?
I think they would dress and hope someone can help on special teams in regards to like a Conklin-esque player, because I don't think you want to dress 3 tight ends. But if you do, then Rucker would be inactive like he was all of last year. People forget Rucker was active during the Browns game, second week of the year, and he had a target.
He dropped the pass.
And he dropped it, and he wasn't active for like 14 straight weeks. So
I know.
Rucker again, if you want to call it a redshirt year, call it a sophomore redshirt year. Who gives? We're in a different spot than we were 12 months ago, and we got a tight end that we're happy about. Very different.
Yes. And two things. One, less important, Mercedes Lewis is a renowned, terrific blocking tight end. So if the Jets do sign him and have to use him, it's not a disaster. It's a good veteran player who's going to bring leadership, who's like a sixth offensive lineman. And on the other case, this is all a good thing. We have to understand, take a step back, that everything that's happening is good. If Trey Wingo came out and said Aaron Rodgers is going to retire, we would be losing our minds. The Jets wouldn't be making these moves. Be like, what the fuck? This guy hold us hostage. He's going to retire. Trey Wingo had the scoop the whole time.
Can I ask a question, though, on that point?
Yeah.
He has to announce tomorrow. Like,
he has to.
Is there a scenario where he goes on McAfee? He goes, yeah, I've heard the rumors, some true, not true. And he just doesn't give the info?
If we didn't hear anything in the last 2 weeks, and Wingo tweeted nothing, and there's no quote unquote wish list in free agency for the Jets, there's no chance that Rodgers in that scenario, there's a chance that Rodgers goes tomorrow on the show and retires. You cannot have that report come out, and then there's a report that you're quote unquote demanding wish list 4 or 5 free agents, and then you go on the show and retire. You can't do it.
But what if he doesn't retire? What if he goes on there and says, I want to play next year. I'm still weighing all my options. There's some reports out there, true and fake. And he doesn't say, I'm going to be a Jet. That scenario, Mike, the Jets look so bad. And there probably is a handshake agreement and everyone's on the same page. I've always thought that.
But the Jets look bad.
They look like idiots.
They look like idiots, but do they? It's like...
But then they keep getting dragged around the mud publicly, where privately, if they have everything sorted out, no one's going to care at the end of the day. But if you keep getting dragged around left and right, and he goes on McAfee, and you're not signing guys, you're waiting for it, or you're going to sign his guys, and he doesn't come, doomsday. But my fear, if he goes on there and retires tomorrow, it's like a laughable Joker moment, and we all have like a dark villain origin story and lose our minds. Like, that is a very real scenario. But if he goes on there and says, yeah, I'm weighing my options, a lot of stuff out there, I don't think I could do another day of it, Mike. I really don't think I could do another day of it.
If he doesn't basically allude to the fact that he's going to get traded to the Jets, it's going to be a difficult couple of days. I haven't even thought about that scenario until this second. It's like the Jets are going to be made fun of if this doesn't work out. But at the end of the day, as a football fan, not even as a Jet fan, if you're a football supporter and you see what the Jets did the last week or so, I think you have to respect it. Like, what did they do wrong? This fucking maniac guy, who is one of the top 5 people to ever play the sport, at the most important position in the history of the sport, is like, hey, I'm probably going to come, sign these guys. And then the Jets do those things like, people are going to make fun of them.
He's a Jet.
They will.
He's a Jet.
He's a Jet. But are they going to make fun of him? Yeah. Are they wrong? What are the Jets supposed to do? Not sign fucking Randall Cobb for 1 year, $1.5 million? Just sign the guy. They're not supposed to sign Alan Lazard. They did it. They did what they had to do. They signed the offensive coordinator. They got the receiver. They're taking all the guys Rodgers wants. We're going to take a look at them. They did what they had to do. I do not blame the Jets for 1 second in this situation if it doesn't work out.
I agree. I don't blame them. I just don't like being embarrassed and dragged around. And I don't think that's
But it's
happening.
not always our decision, you know? It's tough.
Right. Right. It just it blows. It's like the butt fumble where it's not the biggest deal in terms of they did it, they failed on one aspect and everyone took it and talked about it for a decade. But it would be something along the lines of, yeah, we're gonna get publicly dragged. But again, not happening. We're not even getting to that scenario yet. What I just don't want is nothing tomorrow. I'd be very, very I couldn't do it another week, but hopefully good news is coming. The last thing we have is happy trails to Nate Herbig. Did his job in 2022, an offensive line that just was decimated with injuries. And it seems like he's going to be a starter out in Pittsburgh, I believe, right?
He signed with the
Yeah.
Steelers, 2 years, $8 million. There's the interesting thing about the Jets' offensive line. So obviously, you need a center. Your left tackle is Dwayne Brown. Your left guard is Laken Tomlinson. Your right guard is Elijah Vera Tucker, and your right tackle is Mekhi Becton.
Done.
You don't, which is terrific. And we trust in Becton. You're going to have a real backup plan. The Jets have Max Mitchell in place. The Jets have Elijah Vera Tucker. They can move to a tackle spot if they have to.
Mm-hmm.
There are good alternatives to Becton being healthy or unhealthy. You don't have a center. There's a couple of good free agents. There's Ben Jones. There's Graham Glasgow. The
You were
Jets.
looking at Madden comparing their ratings to tell who's better. Love that move.
I don't know how to evaluate offensive linemen. I like to look at Madden ratings. Fucking sue me. PFF. I like PFF ratings if they favor the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't, they can go fuck themselves. Can't trust them. So the Jets have the offensive line really in place. You need one more guy. The offense is relatively built. If Aaron Rodgers is here, you have Rodgers, you have Garrett Wilson, you're gonna have Alan Lazard, you're gonna have a third receiver that's Elijah Moore or someone else, like an OBJ. You have your tight ends, you have Conklin, you have Uzama, you have the line we just spoke about. The Jets are in a really good spot. So I'm curious to see what they do in the upcoming days. But it's a place we haven't been in a long time.
Dude, I can't wait to do the video when it happens. I can't wait to do the video. We're gonna have so much goddamn fun when it
So much
happens.
fun. What was I going to?
Again,
Oh, we were talking about Herbig. Fuck. The reason I brought up the offensive line, who are going to be the backups? Feeney is a maybe to resign. There needs to be a lot of depth. The Jets have really 4 starters signed, and not much depth, which is scary.
I think Mitchell's done. I think they'll do a Dan Feeney signing like they did this upcoming year, get a guy like Dan Feeney, and then likely take a guy in the draft who can play center and who can bounce out. You have a lot of guys that you've heard rumored and interior offensive line, day 2 guys. So they're going to probably build depth, and we're probably going to leave free agency saying we need one more guy somewhere, and they're going to get him in the draft. And hopefully they don't get thrown in the fire as quickly as Max Mitchell did.
Right. Max Mitchell had to come in quickly into the 2022 season and held his own. We were used to Chuma Edoga coming in, who was a 3rd-round pick out of USC. It's like immediately holding penalty, and it's a tough spot to be thrown into as a tackle in football. But Max Mitchell really held his own and gained some fans last year, and then had those blood clot problems. So we're hoping that he comes back himself. But
And I
man,
always
it's in a good spot, dude.
And I just to throw one last thing, and I hate the narrative when it's like a player from blank school at the same position, we can't get him because of like if it's like
Can't draft a right tackle from USC
because
like,
Chuma Odoga was bad. It's like, oh, it just turned out the AVT was great. You'll hear that a lot. But Mike, I think we can wrap it there. Another good video. Thank you again for subscribing. Our guy Tom Begg on Twitter DM me and was like, got me, my son, we all subscribe. So Tom, I appreciate you. Low key.
Is Tom the one who has the pictures of everybody in the world?
Tom has a picture of every single Tom has pictures of people that weren't born yet. Like this guy has like a celebrity in 80 years from now as a picture. So Tom, I appreciate it. And thank you again for everyone watching. Mike, we'll talk soon.
Of course, buddy. Thanks, guys.
See ya.